Here's something that'll mess with your mind, Sam. In just 4 years, one president managed to add 6 entire states to America, spend more money than any administration before him, and still ended up being mostly forgotten by history. Benjamin Harrison's presidency might be the most consequential term that nobody talks about.
That's fascinating, Pappy. And you're right, I can barely picture what he looked like. Though wasn't he the one sandwiched between Grover Cleveland's two terms?
Exactly right. And here's what makes this story so interesting. He was actually the grandson of another president, William Henry Harrison. They're the only grandfather grandson pair to ever hold the office, though Grandpa only lasted 31 days in office.
Well, Pappy, that must have created some interesting family pressure. How did he handle following in those footsteps?
You know what's remarkable? He didn't just follow, he blazed his own trail. Think about this: North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, Washington, Idaho, and Wyoming all joined the Union under his watch. That's like adding an entire region of the country in one presidential term.
That's huge when you think about it. Those states completely transformed the American economy, right?
Absolutely correct. We're talking massive mineral resources from Montana, timber from Washington, and agricultural powerhouses in the Dakotas. But here's where it gets exciting. While he was expanding the country geographically, he was also trying to modernize it economically.
Hmm. You're talking about the Sherman Antitrust Act?
That's right, the first federal law aimed at breaking up monopolies. And get this, we're still using that legislation today to go after big tech companies. But what really got him in hot water was his spending.
Oh, right, the $1 billion Congress. Though that seems almost quaint now.
Well, imagine the scandal today if someone increased government spending by that much. He was funding veterans' pensions, infrastructure projects, and modernizing the Navy, all important stuff, but it was just too much for voters to swallow.
And then there were those tariffs, right? The McKinley Tariff Act.
Oh man, talk about a political miscalculation. He was trying to protect American industries, but when consumer prices shot through the roof, people were not happy. Though, and this is what fascinates me, he kept pushing forward with progressive policies anyway.
Like what kind of policies?
Well, he supported this thing called the Lodge Bill, which would have protected African American voting rights in the South. This was the 1890s, and even though it failed, he kept appointing African Americans to federal positions. He was way ahead of his time on civil rights.
That's pretty remarkable for that era. Though I'm guessing it didn't help his popularity in certain parts of the country.
Not at all. But you know what's really interesting? He just didn't seem to care about the political consequences. He modernized the Navy, organized the first Pan American Conference to improve relations with Latin America. He was basically trying to transform America into a modern global power.
So why do you think he's so overlooked in history?
Well, here's my theory: he wasn't a showman. He was this dignified, principled guy who just put his head down and did the work. Not exactly the stuff of exciting biographies, but when you look at his actual impact, the states he added, the antitrust legislation, the military modernization, it's pretty extraordinary.
That makes me wonder how many other presidents we've overlooked because they weren't flashy enough.
You know what's really wild? Many of the issues Harrison dealt with are still hot topics today: trade policy, government spending, voting rights, and monopolies. It's like his presidency was a preview of the next century's challenges.
That's such a critical way to look at it, Pappy. So, what's the big takeaway from Harrison's story?
I think it's that sometimes the leaders who make the most significant difference aren't the ones who make the biggest splash, Sam. Every time we look at a map of the Northwest United States or read about an antitrust case against a modern monopoly or think about America's role as a global power, we're looking at Benjamin Harrison's legacy, whether we realize it or not.